At 6:08 p.m. on the 4th of August 2020, Warehouse 12 in the port of Beirut exploded. Triggered by the ignition of nearly 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate, it was the most powerful non-nuclear event ever recorded. Global catastrophes like this are not born in a single moment. They are built. Let's rewind the clock and revisit events as we count down to disaster. November 1st, 2013. A cargo ship sails into Beirut's port. The ship is called the MV Rosis. On board, 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, a highly explosive industrial chemical commonly used in fertilizer, but also capable of devastating blasts. The ship was supposed to continue onward to Mozambique, but it never did. The authorities deemed the vessel unfit to sail. The cargo was unloaded and moved into storage, Warehouse 12, inside Beirut's port. The owner of the ship at first glance was Russian businessman Igor Grachushkin, but soon it was discovered it was owned by a Cypriot businessman called Charalambos Manoli, a man who maintained a relationship with a bank used by Hezbollah, a Shia Islamist Lebanese political party and paramilitary group in Lebanon. Grachushkin was leasing the vessel at the time, and when he declared bankruptcy, he decides to abandon the ship and its cargo in Beirut. The ammonium nitrate remained in the warehouse, month after month, year after year. Officials wrote letters warning of the danger. Customs authorities asked judges what should be done with the chemicals. Sell it, move it, dispose of it. But nothing happened. A bureaucratic maze of paperwork and inaction left thousands of tons of explosive material sitting in the middle of a crowded city.
И после этого мы с 2014 года груз выгрузили где-то, как я знаю, в 2015 вроде году, а может и в 2014, я не могу точно сказать. Вот.
Inside Warehouse 12, conditions were deteriorating. Workers reported dangerous storage practices and flammable materials were kept near the ammonium nitrate. Wooden pallets, fireworks, and fuel. Some employees later described the warehouse as a disaster waiting to happen.
Because it's an oxidizer, it needs to be kept away from any products that might provide a source of fuel in the event of a fire, because the ammonium nitrate would provide excess oxygen.
I mean, it's used commercially, it's used quite a lot in quarrying, but it's not actually in itself an explosive. It's an oxidizer, it produces oxygen. It's generally mixed with some sort of fuel.
So normally you would see some kind of distancing from other facilities, protective berms, or even having the material within storage itself separated into smaller quantities.
Warnings continued. Officials again raised concerns about the risk of an explosion, but Lebanon was facing political paralysis, economic collapse, and deep-rooted corruption across government institutions.
The political system has collapsed and the banking system has collapsed. There is nowhere to start to pick up the pieces.
Responsibility moved from desk to desk, file to file. No one took action. The chemicals stayed exactly where they were, right next to a city of 2 million people. August 4th, 2020. The day begins like any other in Beirut. By late afternoon, smoke appears rising from the port. At 5:45 p.m., a fire breaks out inside Warehouse 12, and videos begin appearing online. People film from nearby apartments and office buildings, and dark smoke pours into the sky. Popping sounds echo from the warehouse like fireworks, and firefighters rush to the scene. They begin battling the flames, unaware of the danger stored inside. Inside the warehouse, thousands of tons of ammonium nitrate was heating up, burning. It was becoming unstable, and as minutes pass, the fire grows and the smoke thickens. At 6:08 p.m., everything changes.
We have breaking news out of Lebanon's capital, Beirut. A large explosion has rocked the city.
A massive explosion erupts from the port. The blast tears through Beirut with unimaginable force.
I'm good.
Huh? What is that?
A shockwave races across the city. Buildings collapse, cars flip, and glass shatters for kilometers. The explosion is so powerful, it registers as a 4.5 magnitude earthquake and could be felt in countries nearby, like Cyprus.
We have sent the first explosion, 75 ambulances, then 50 ambulances sent by blood and others. And now we are in the post to work regarding evacuation of the dead bodies and others now. More than 5,000 wounded, more than 54 dead bodies. It's not easy, waiting for disappeared also. It's something really very sad for us.
In less than a second, Beirut is transformed. The devastation is immediate. 218 people are killed and more than 7,000 are injured. Entire neighborhoods are destroyed. Hundreds of thousands lose their homes.
يعني جيت لقيت عائلتي هون بيطلعوا شاب طالعين شاب.
As rescue teams search through rubble, another question begins to emerge. How could this happen? Investigations begin. Documents surface. Letters and warnings come to the surface.
نتراجع خطوة إلى الوراء للوقوف مع الناس كي نخوض معركة التغيير معهم. نريد أن نفتح الباب أمام الإنقاذ الوطني الذي يشارك اللبنانيون في صناعته. لذلك أعلن اليوم استقالة هذه الحكومة.
Requests for action that were ignored for years, and the evidence suggests this disaster was not sudden. It was the result of long-term negligence.
This is humiliation, he shouts. All of you politicians knew what was in that port. She'd come to see the damage for herself and try to convince people that justice would be done.
What answer can you give the people?
I'm telling them only one thing regarding the investigation. I want the truth and the full truth. And if there is an obstacle to the truth, I will talk. I will not stay aside. I will talk. I will not accept that the investigation doesn't go to the full truth.
Government officials deny responsibility, and the blame shifts between ministries and agencies. But the people of Beirut are not convinced.
Our government did not deploy one soldier or one policeman to help us to remove the bodies from under the rubble. Did not help us for 5 days, not remove one old woman from any building, any stone, and here they are.
People are absolutely furious with the Minister of Justice. They won't let her walk along the street. She may say that there's going to be an investigation, but people have no trust. They have no belief in this government. She's quite brave, actually, to come out here on this street and face the people. But they don't care about that. They just want this government gone.
Thousands flood the streets in protest.
We're gonna kill them. We wanna kill them. They destroyed our Beirut. This is ours.
Demanding answers, demanding accountability. Protesters storm government ministries and headquarters of the country's banking association. And the police had to respond with tear gas and rubber bullets.
They're shouting Fawra, which means revolution. That Beirut hadn't experienced enough trauma. The city is convulsing with anger. People are furious with their government and with the authorities. Most of the people here, their apartments, their homes have been destroyed. And they want justice. Make no mistake, this is a dangerous moment for the country.
For the victims, the explosion was not just a tragedy. It was a failure of the system meant to protect them.
We getting around 450, 500 patients through one door into the emergency department where your medical supplies are already being burnt out by coronavirus, lack of foreign currency to bring more supplies. It was a big hit on an already tired community.
I'm volunteering as a medical first aid as much as we can to help the people who have injuries from the day of the explosion till now for free. Everything we can do as medical first aid, from the injuries to the medications, for free. It's not easy at all for everyone. The people who have been injured, the people who have lost their lives, their family members, their houses, their work. It's not easy, it's a catastrophe.
The scale of destruction is overwhelming as the entire districts of Beirut lie in ruins. Hospitals are damaged, schools are destroyed, and businesses vanish overnight. The port itself, once the country's economic lifeline, is devastated. For many survivors, life will never return to what it was before.
Everything in the unit where I work with was destroyed. The incubators were destroyed. The desks, the computers, the telephones, everything in the unit was destroyed. I was in a specific place when the blast happened. I found myself in completely another place. It's a room adjacent to where I was. I found myself alone with 3 babies. I did not know what to do. So I got out of the hospital towards the GF outside. We are trained to do such evacuations, but this was beyond expectations.
Families mourn loved ones. Communities begin the slow process of rebuilding. But recovery is not just about reconstruction. It's about justice. Numerous families in the community are devastated by the sudden loss of parents, kids, siblings, and sisters. The parents of Alexandra, the blast's youngest victim, are among them.
Our daughter was victim of a crime, if not, if you could call it a murder of incompetence and negligence. It's a crime.
Mother and daughter were thrown across the room when the explosion first occurred. Alexandra had a serious head injury as a result of the incident. 2 days later, the young child passed away in the hospital.
She's the happiest person I've known. If there's one thing Tracy and I are glad about is that we really think that she spent probably the best 3.5 years anybody could have had. Her death could lead to the miracle that the country needs, because we definitely need a miracle. There's nothing else that can save us. So let's communicate. Let the people hear the story, so that it triggers humanity in people that are still following these guys, and maybe it triggers something even in these murderers. I don't know.
وبظن نفس الخبرية إنه اليوم بالادعاء والمسؤول حسان دياب وكم وزير معه على القضاء مش حيروحوا حيحطوا ملفاتهم بالجوارير، حيروحوا يشربوا فنجان قهوة ويطلعوا مثل ما فاتوا مثل ما طلعوا.
برأيي إنه كل حدا بقلب هيدي السلطة هو مشارك بهيدا الفساد، يعني كل حدا موجود بقلب السلطة أو كل حدا كان له مركز معين من أصغر واحد لأكبر واحد هو مشارك بهيدا الفساد كله سوا وبانفجار البار وبكل شيء عم بيصير بلبنان.
In December 2020, lead investigator Fadi Sawan accused 3 former ministers and former Prime Minister Hassan Diab of negligence. However, Sawan was removed from the case in a few months due to increasing political pressure.
استدعاء هو صدر عن القاضي صوان بحق رئيس الحكومة تصريف الأعمال حسان دياب. ما بيجوز. ليه؟ لأنه هيك عم بيلقي المسؤولية على شخص ما له علاقة بالموضوع، بل اللي له علاقة بالموضوع هو السيد ميشيل عون رئيس الجمهورية قائد الأعلى للقوات المسلحة.
Judge Tariq Bitar, his successor, moved forward. He requested that immunity be lifted for a number of MPs who had been ministers in the past, but his petitions were turned down. He couldn't even interview senior officials without permission, much less file accusations against them.
And whoever has asked the questions, the right questions, like a judge, an investigative judge, whose name was Tariq Bitar, the person who dared ask the right questions was forced to stop the investigation, was threatened to pull away from the investigation because it would harm the national security interests of Lebanon.
Justice is unattainable in a system where authorities have the power to remove judges and obstruct investigations.
God gave me a second chance to live. I don't want to live it here. I wanted to live it somewhere safe, somewhere peace, somewhere where I can live my normal life.
Years later, investigations continue. Many victims' families are still waiting for answers, still demanding accountability.
We don't live in a country. This is not a country. This is not a government. We live to survive here. Like, we live a day. I don't know if we're gonna live tomorrow or not. This is how bad it is here to live in Lebanon. This is how bad it is.
Because while buildings can be rebuilt and cities can recover, some damage can never be undone. And the search for responsibility is far from over.